ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next episode of On the Ball, where if it has a ball, we're probably going to talk about it. So, let me turn that megaphone off, just changing things up a little bit. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. It's very strange for us. We don't usually record on Tuesday. I blame Zach's girlfriend for that because she's coming to town. And Zach can tell her I said that, and hopefully she takes it in all good fun and she doesn't hate me for that. Anyway, we got a good show for you guys tonight. Obviously, World Series starting tonight. We're going to be talking about that. And it was actually a fairly exciting week in the NFL. A lot of good games. A lot of surprises, a lot of almost heart attacks if you're a Colts fan. If you're not a Colts fan, you probably still had some teams still probably had heart attacks. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. I think we're in for a really good show. I know that a lot's going on and we're going to have a lot to talk about. If you are in the chat, we just want to say, ask questions, give us stuff to talk about. We'd love to answer your questions. The thing about this is we want to be as unique as possible. So when you're in the live stream, you can communicate with us. You can ask questions and we'll answer them directly if we have an answer to them. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe this video, share it with your friends, come into stream, talk to us when it's live. We'd love to have you. We'd love to engage with you. For those that have supported us previously, we thank you guys for that. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to pass it over to Zach. And Zach, we are going to get started with the World Series.
Yeah, and we're actually underway. Game one, first pitch, we're live. Looks like we're in the third inning here, but no score yet, so we don't have any clues as to who might be pulling off the game one win. But as far as predictions go, what did you have coming into this series?
Well, I think we both kind of. I mean, you obviously had Tampa Bay, and I obviously did not have Tampa Bay. I thought the Yankees would pull it off, and, they kind of let me down a little bit, but I'm also not necessarily fully surprised that they let me down. I'm trying to remember.
That series was neck and neck. I mean, that you play that game on a different day, it could have flip-flopped that game 7. So
I will say, well, that was actually game 5 because it was only a 5-game series for the Yankees.
You're right.
But then it went to Houston. No, you're fine. It went to Houston. I guess I should say that I'm just thankful that the Astros didn't make it to the World Series. Again, it comes back to that. A lot of
people would have been mad.
Yeah, it comes back to that question of, how do you feel about cheaters? We don't look at the Patriots the same way. We don't look at Tom Brady the same way because of the titles. Obviously we agree that Tom Brady's a great player and that on the Houston Astros, there's a lot of great players. You can't deny that there's a lot of great players on the Astros. A lot of good players on the Astros. You can't deny that, but I'm thankful that they didn't get there. Now, my prediction, I still think the Dodgers are the better team in this matchup. The Dodgers pitching is better. They've got better hitters with Mookie Betts and Bellinger and Corey Seager. I wish Kyle would kind of play the same way that Corey has been playing. Like, Kyle looks very old, but Corey Seager was Corey Seager was the MVP of the last round for the Dodgers against the Braves. And I just look at the breakdown between the Braves versus the Dodgers, and who knows? I mean, maybe the Dodgers had a harder run against the Braves, so they may be a little bit tired, but baseball is not, they're used to this every other day or every day game style. It's not like the NFL or the NBA where they get a day's rest usually. They don't usually get that, so maybe that doesn't matter that much to them. Shorter season, less wear and tear. But I think I got to go with the Dodgers here. I just think overall they've got the better overall team.
Yeah, that's completely fair. I mean, this series. Well, first of all, thank goodness the Rays won and they're representing the AL. Preseason pick, but knocking off the Astros was a little sweeter to see them in the World Series. And actually, a former select baseball teammate of mine, Blake Snell, is going to be pitching in that series. So, little hometown love as well.
For the Dodgers or for the Rays?
The Rays. That's
okay.
the Rays. Yeah.
Okay.
As for the Dodgers and Braves series, that was a great series. 7 games, obviously a huge 3-1 comeback from the Dodgers. The Braves had their chances in that game 7. If anyone watched that game, was an awesome game. There were a couple massive home runs, a robbed home run from Mookie Betts, some good pitching. So that was a lot of fun. Braves have a great team, but the Dodgers, I think, just squeaked by there. And as for the World Series, I kind of broke it down. Obviously, if you're hitting, your defense, and then you can kind of break up your pitching into your starters and your bullpen. And I think the defense is a push. You might be able to say that the Rays have the edge there. They were fantastic in that Astros series with just, I'm pretty sure I would not be surprised if they did not commit an error in that series. That might actually be worth looking into here. But they had some amazing plays in that series. Kevin Kiermaier locking down that outfield. Defense might be pushing this series. Hitting, I'll give to the Dodgers. I think their lineup is quite a bit better. I would say. Rays have some good hitters, but their true stud hitter really hasn't been performing all season. So they're making it work as we go here. But then the big edge that I would give to the Rays is the pitching, both broken up as starting pitching and the bullpen. The bullpen is significantly better, I think, and the starting pitching is more reliable at this moment. Clayton Kershaw's been dealing with some back spasms. He's still and always has had his postseason woes, and Walker Buehler has been dealing with some blister issues late in the regular season into the playoffs. He hasn't gone past 6 innings in quite a while. And then you look over on the Rays side and you got Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow starting game 1 tonight, and Charlie Morton. That trio just coming in fully healthy and pitch counts where they need to be. They're going to be locked and loaded. So I think the Rays pull this out in 7. It's going to be a neck and neck series. These are the best record in the AL versus the best record in the NL. 2 really, really good teams. It's going to come down to a few plays here and there every night.
How often does that happen in MLB, where the 2 number ones, where the top records are the 2 in the playoffs?
I believe it was the last time this has happened is actually, I believe it was 2013. I saw this stat a couple nights ago. So it's been if that's right, about 7 years since we've actually seen the number 1 seeds from each side.
I definitely think
baseball there's a certain randomness and luck to baseball. I'll fully admit it. So it's hard, even if you're a number 1 seed and a clear cut above other teams. A lot of times you do see some of those teams just get hot and sneak by. So
I think the biggest thing is it's not like March Madness where one team gets hot and they win a couple games. Like baseball is so much different in the sense that you've got to win 3, you've got to win 4, you've got to win against a hard team, and they figure out how kind of that difference. I guess my question for you would be, as someone who's played in a lot of tournaments that have been that style, how much game changes do you have to make in a series? Like, are you playing?
Like
are
game?
Are you playing the same? Is the Rays gonna come out and play LA the same way every night, or are they gonna be changing things up in the sense of how they run things, how they do things? Are they gonna be different in that sense, or is it gonna be relatively the same thing every night?
Yeah, it's more or less the same thing every night. But obviously, the big thing in baseball is you have a different starting pitcher every night. So that in itself is going to completely change the tempo of every game. Some pitchers are slow, slow working, meticulous. Some are fast, and the whole game can really go off the starting pitcher and how they're working. So that in itself changes the game nightly.
Okay.
But you're throwing, for the most part, the same lineups out there. Maybe, if the Rays throw a lefty out there, they'll trot out like AJ Pollock, a right-hander.
Okay.
But as far as game-to-game adjustments go, there's not a ton. It's more so just if there's a lefty on the mound versus if there's a righty on the mound, and having your lineup set for that, and then you go off your starting pitcher, and bullpen use is obviously big in the postseason. So managing that, deciding when to go to your go-to bullpen guys and not wear them out in a 7-game series. So
gotcha. Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. I'd be
and I'm just trying to check this stat with the errors in the Rays. They have, I can't find the series stat, but they only have 4 errors in the entire postseason so far.
Jeez.
Which is
I feel like that's very uncommon. I feel like the Mariners have 4 in 3 innings.
That seems extremely low. I mean, that's what have they played? Like 7, 5, and 3.
I mean, they've played a lot of games. They played
like 15,
2,
plus
7.
games, right?
They've played 7
games.
7 plus 7, 14. Yeah, they played 14 games. This will be their 15th game. 4 errors in 14 games. That's insane. That is really insane.
Yeah. That's like 1 error, basically 1 error series.
Is it the same? So I guess for the newbie that I am, obviously I played minor league and anything happens in that, but they always make the statement, play sound football, right? Or sound basketball. Does that saying apply to baseball? Like, play sound baseball, make the right play, make the easy play, make the play that's supposed to be like, does that follow suit in baseball too?
Yeah, it's not as apparent to maybe the casual fan's eye, but it really plays out in defense. Just simple plays, errors, letting runners advance, like the Braves in that Game 7. If anyone watched, they had what could have been a game-saving and series-saving play at home plate with, I believe it was Chris Taylor, former Mariner, third base, ground ball to second. Ozzie Albies throws him out at home. Perfect throw to the plate, perfect tag, throws him out, saves a run, kept the game at 3-3. Simple defensive plays like that kind of go under the radar, but aren't always that easy to make, play out hugely. And I'm remembering a double play as well. I think this might have been in the same game or possibly Game 6, where the Braves had second and third and the Dodgers converted a double play on a ground ball. I think it was to third base. Runner went home. They got the runner in a pickle, tagged him out. Justin Turner, it was Justin Turner diving tag, tags the runner on between third and home out, and then the runner on second tries to advance to third, and they throw him out at third for a double play. I mean, plays like that, if you let that run score, let the run advance to third, you don't get that double play, and then the next hitter singles up the middle, there's a run. So just little defensive plays like that really, really save you.
Gotcha.
And bring, I guess to your saying, that's sound baseball, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're still sticking with your.
Yeah, I'm going Rays in 7.
Okay.
It's gonna be close, though.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Should we head over to the NFL?
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, we do. I want to start with a game that is with a comment that, or with a game that I don't think either one of us was really all that excited about, but we had talked about it some. And the reason I want to bring this up is because the certain quarterback that is in this game just got benched. And we never really expected him to get benched. I don't think either one of us expected him to get benched. So the game I'm talking about is the New York Jets versus the Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa. I don't know. Tua.
I'm not going to try it either.
I'm not trying anymore. I'll get it someday. I don't have a person speaking in my ear his name before I'm saying it. No producers in this show. But yeah, they benched. It was announced today that Tua is going to be the starter after the bye week for the Dolphins. Kind of surprising to me considering they blew out the Jets. Ryan Fitzpatrick was 18 of 27 for 191 yards, 3 touchdowns with 2 interceptions. Kind of high on interceptions, but at the same time, like,
he's got them at 3-2.
Yeah, like I'm not sure what they're 3-3 actually. 3-3. I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, Tua came in and he was 2 of 2 for 9 yards. Like, I don't know how excited I'd be about 2 for 2 for 9 yards, and they're going full bore at him. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, from my standpoint, I think that might be a little early to bring him in personally.
This caught me off guard. I kind of see what they're doing, and I see what they're doing, and I also don't quite understand it. I think they came into the season drafting Tua to be their guy and take over, and probably play in what was going to be, a 6-10 season, right?
Yeah.
Get some experience, and eventually take over the reins and use kind of Ryan Fitzpatrick as a veteran mentor and maybe a bridge to halfway through the season, where they hand the reins over. But now he's been playing well, Ryan Fitzpatrick, that is, and he's got him at 3-3, second in the division with, a chance at a playoff spot. It's early on. And they decide to make the move now. I don't know. I mean, I see it. I understand it from the standpoint as they see him as their quarterback of the future. But it also is a little perplexing given kind of how well of a situation Ryan Fitzpatrick has put them in.
Yeah,
it's just a little weird.
That was my biggest thing. Like, you're going from a quarterback that, albeit 2 interceptions against the Jets, is not what you want, but you're talking about a quarterback that's put you in a good circumstance. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're pulling the trigger on this relatively quickly for a quarterback that was 2 for 2 for 9 yards. Like, if he had been 2 for 2 for and 1 touchdown, or 2 for 2 for 60 yards, okay, maybe you go there. And I think everybody's realistic. I think they know that, Tua was the 5th pick in the draft. Like, everyone knows he's the future for the Dolphins, or they want him to be the future for the Dolphins. But I don't think that I look at a Patrick Mahomes, right, who came in, sat behind Alex Smith for the first year and had played the last 2 games of the season, and then that next season was a starter. From my viewpoint, that's what I would be doing with Tua, especially with him coming back from that hip injury that he had. You don't know what you're going to get with Tua, and if they're playing well, why change?
Yeah, that's the point I agree with. At the same time, you don't see what they're seeing in practice. Maybe Tua has been impressive in practice and kind of almost outshining Ryan Fitzpatrick maybe in certain instances. Who knows? And maybe they feel like they have a shot at the playoffs here, and Tua is going to bring them that extra level of performance or maybe offensive flexibility that Ryan Fitzpatrick won't. I guess that's where I understand it as well, but the timing is just a little weird.
And maybe it's just because it was their bye week, because it's coming back from a bye week. You know, maybe that's the case. I mean, if you look at I just pulled up the PFF, and it looks like, you know, being a Colts fan and seeing what happened to Andrew Luck, someone who wasn't injury prone, and the beating he took. If you take a look, I'm trying to find it here. Where are they? And they're not in the top 20. That's kind of terrifying. Man, they're not in the top 25.
At, offensive line?
Yeah, rankings of offensive line. They are literally ranked 32nd.
Wow. Okay.
There wasn't much debate about the worst offense in the league last year, as Miami ranked last in both pass and rush blocking. Only one of 7 linemen with at least a 330 snap graded above a 60. They did use one of their first 3-round picks on USC Austin Jackson. I'm worried. If I'm a Dolphins fan with the history Tua's had with injury at Alabama, I'm worried. I'm afraid he's gonna just get pounded and pounded hard, and that's not what you want on a quarterback. Any quarterback, let alone one that's injury prone, from my standpoint. But
yeah, I mean, I guess I understand it if they think they have an outside shot at the playoffs in a season where they didn't think they were going to get there, and they think that Tua just has the upside that maybe will give them an extra win or two.
Yeah,
I get it. No, it's just unfortunate for Ryan Fitzpatrick because he's been good. He you know, maybe the Dolphins. There's a lot of teams that could use a quarterback in this league. Maybe the Dolphins.
Maybe they trade the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Colts, maybe. Yeah.
No. Doubt it. We've got like 50. We've got like $50 million invested in the quarterback position right now. We don't have enough money for that. Unless they're taking Phillip Rivers with him.
Browns maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
So we've got a lot of teams.
Pure speculation.
Yeah, we've got a lot of teams that are not performing well at all. Jets are 0-6. Chargers are 1-4. Bengals are 1-4-1. Texans and Jaguars are 1-5 apiece. That's just in the AFC. When you go over to the NFC, we will talk about the NFC East, but they had a combined 5 wins and 18 losses and 1 tie. That's where that is. The Vikings are 1-5 and the Falcons are 1-5. Of those teams, which one do you think kind of turned it around? So we'll start with the AFC. We got the Chargers, the Bengals, the Texans, the Jaguars, and the Jets. Who kind of turns it around? And
boy, for me, I think the Chargers have been extremely unlucky this year. I think they could be a contending team.
Yeah.
Chargers, I like the Chargers. Texans are probably the other team. You know, they had a pretty nice comeback against the Titans there, sent it to overtime. They could have squeaked that win out and been, they would have been 2-4. You know, not in the worst spot ever, but Texans, they just have too much talent. I'll keep saying it every week. They just have too much talent to be 1-5.
I think they
so really those two teams for me.
I also think they found a chink in the armor when it comes to the Titans. They almost beat the Titans in Tennessee. I think they come home to Houston. I think that's a different game. You know, I would agree with you. I think Houston's got the potential there to turn it around. I also would have to say that I agree with your Chargers pick as well. I think the Chargers are a good team. They've had some bad luck. They're coming back.
Single-digit losses.
And they're coming back next week. They play the Jaguars, so that should be an easy game for them. So hopefully that helps them out. As far as the NFC East goes, who's going to win this division, Zach? I think we both said
What
the
a
Cowboys
mess.
were going to win this division, but after the first 6 weeks and the fact that they lost Dak, you feel for the Cowboys because they finally have a good team together, a potential of a good team together.
Well, I'll say good offense. I think their defense
Yeah.
is probably the worst in the NFL right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the question is who comes out of this? Who is going to be the winner in the NFC East? And are we going to see a 5-11
11
team in the playoffs? And will they make a run?
Yeah. I mean, the math has got to work out where they play each other in the division enough that they get to 7 wins, right? Something like that. Well, Seahawks.
I don't know.
But,
I mean, at this point, they haven't won only 2 of those wins, or one of those wins. No, 2 of those wins are in the division. Of their 5 wins, they have 5. That division has 5 wins, 18 losses, and 1 tie. And of those ones, only two of those wins are in the division. So
yeah,
I mean,
Philly maybe. Just on paper, I mean, none of these teams excite me. Like Andy Dalton with the worst defense in football. I don't know if that's going to do it. New York Giants without their running back and a mediocre quarterback and a poor defense, and then you got Washington.
I mean, I would say it's probably the Eagles that are going to come out of this.
Probably the Eagles,
and they literally could be 5-10-1.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
a bleak division.
Unprecedented. Unprecedented. I said that I thought they were the worst division in football, and they're proving me right because this is just pitiful. I mean, absolutely pitiful. But
yeah, it's bad.
So what's a game that stood out in your mind? Which game was kind of your favorite of the weekend? Other than the Seahawks had a bye, right?
Seahawks were on a bye.
Yeah.
Boy, there were quite a few. I guess just to touch on the Eagles really quick, they did almost beat the Ravens there.
They did. I saw that, yeah.
So I think that'll be my pick there in the NFC East. There were a few good games. Chiefs, Bills, that Monday night game. Chiefs made the Bills. I was pretty high on the Bills. I like what they have going, and the Chiefs made the Bills offense look pretty mediocre. Of course, the 49ers and Rams was a bit of a surprise given how banged up the 49ers are, but this division, people are going to be beating up on each other all year. It's going to be real close. At the end of we could have 3 teams fighting for that number 1 spot realistically.
Yeah.
Maybe even 4. Big one for me, big surprise was the Bucs and the Packers. That score line. I thought the Bucs would win this game, but not by 4 scores. Holding Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay to 10 points. That defense is a lot better than I think we were anticipating.
Yeah,
and you know what their offense is going to do. So.
Yeah, you and I talked about that one either on Thursday of last week or maybe on Sunday. Maybe you and I were texting on Sunday, or we were talking on Sunday, and I said, who are we rooting for? And you're like, the Bucs. And I was skeptical of, Aaron Rodgers has just been playing so well, but it just, and the Buccaneers looked strong. They looked like they were out for blood, and typical Brady shows up in big games. Gronk, I think, had his first touchdown of the season as well in that game.
First touchdown.
So, Aaron Rodgers throwing for 160 yards, and Brady only threw for 166, but he had 2 touchdowns. Ronald Jones had 113 yards rushing, and as is common practice for Green Bay, there was no one else on the team. It's that team. I think we said at the beginning of the year, that team will go the way that Aaron Rodgers takes it, pretty much. I think for me, my biggest game, one, the Colts game was incredibly frustrating at the beginning. and then turned out to be an okay game. But I would have to say the biggest one for me was the Steelers. You know, you weren't very high on the Steelers coming in to the season in your predictions. So far they've got a better record than the Ravens. And I think you really do have questions at quarterback if you're the Browns. I hate to say that, but you know, Baker Mayfield did not look comfortable. He ended up getting replaced by Case Keenum. It's never a good thing when your starting quarterback gets replaced by someone. You know, Kareem Hunt didn't look strong against that relatively unknown Steeler defense. You know, it's the Steelers defense, but they're relatively unknown.
Yeah.
And, you know, James Conner ran all over him. The offensive line of the Steelers is proving to be dominant again. And I think that that's a big thing. So, for me, that Steelers win against the Cleveland Browns was a big one because they overpowered a Cleveland Browns defense that, frankly, is generally pretty good against the run. You know, so
their offense just keeps chugging along. They keep losing receivers, and they just keep replacing them with the next great thing. You know, like Chase Claypool has proven out to be a pretty massive target on that Steelers offense. Obviously, you have Juju, who hasn't had the greatest season so far, but is a decoy at worst.
Yeah,
and the defense is typical Steelers defense. So props to them for just making things work season after season.
Yeah, and
as they're getting older.
Getting
older. So.
You know, the one thing I'm noticing with Big Ben, and this kind of goes to a discussion that we had last week, was quarterback strength. I don't really feel like we're seeing the quarterback strength drop off in Big Ben, the way that we're seeing it with Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. You know, the older guys.
One of my concerns coming into the season, why I wasn't so high on the Steelers. Big Ben coming off an injury in his, what's he got to be, 35, 36, something like that?
He's older.
He's older.
He's in the same range as Eli and Phillip. They were the same draft class.
Let's see, what is he? He is... Okay, he's 38.
Yeah, so he's getting up there in age.
Yeah, that was really a concern of mine coming off injury. But he's looked great. I think, I want to say only like 2, if I remember correctly, 1 or 2 turnovers this year so far. So he's taking care of the ball, and they're running it. They're running it well. So Steelers are looking good. And then on the other side, Baker Mayfield. The inconsistency of the Browns, it's just, if you're a Browns fan, it's just got to be infuriating. You know, they look good one week, and then you get 119 yards from Baker Mayfield the next week. He was out with a little injury, but they can't seem to piece weeks together. It's like a whole new season every week they play.
Yeah,
you don't know what you're gonna get.
I feel like that's the way the Browns have been for a long time. I mean, I think the 0-4 start was, or the 5-1 start, was it 5-1? 5-1? No, 4-1 start was like the best start they had since like 1996. And then they just come out and play that way against the Steelers. Rough. I mean, it's rough. You know, this week was interesting. And the Colts and Bengals game, the news reporters in Indianapolis were ripping Phillip Rivers a new one all week. I mean, just, oh my gosh, it was it was insane how bad they were ripping him. And then to come out and Colts go down in the first quarter 14-0 and then go down 24. I believe we went down 24-0 or 21-0. And then we score 21 points in the second half and take it into half, down 3, I think. You know, they turned it around. We let Joe Burrow play the game, 313 yards. You know, Philip Rivers had 371 yards, 3 TDs, and 1 interception. As a Colts fan, I'm sitting here saying, why don't you play that way every week? Like,
yeah, and
we can see you do it. Why don't you do it?
He had some significant completions as well. I think 10, 15, 20 yards downfield as well.
Yeah.
They weren't dinking and dunking it.
Yeah.
He was airing it out, and it was working. They came back, I think, down 21, right?
Yeah, they were down 21. Yeah.
It went on a 31-6 run, looks like.
Yeah.
Win that game.
Yep.
So
it's interesting to me that I don't think his arm strength is all there, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has lost some of it. I don't think he will admit that, but I think he's lost some of it. I think he's lost some of it because it does look like when he throws the ball that it's a lot of lob.
Yeah, there's some extra air under it, right?
Yeah, they're not hitting it. It's not hitting the receiver in stride, it feels.
Mm-hmm.
He did overthrow someone. He did overthrow someone, but see, that's the other thing. This is something that analysts, I feel like, don't talk about a lot. Is they're like, oh, he overthrew his receiver. His arm strength is fine. And sometimes through watching, like with, I remember back to the draft with Andrew Luck and RG3. They're like, RG3 almost never overthrows his receivers, but Andrew Luck always overthrows his receivers. And they said, when you overthrow your receiver, sometimes you're compensating for a lack of arm strength. So it's not necessarily, my understanding of it is, it's not necessarily that if you've got good arm strength, you're going to be accurate deep. And if you don't have good arm strength, sometimes you're going to overthrow the receiver. Sometimes you're going to underthrow the receiver.
Yeah.
Because you don't quite know how much you need to get it there anymore, because you're constantly guessing yourself. It's like a kicker that steps up to it and they ice him and he hits it far right. Mm-hmm. And the next time he comes to take it and he hits it far left because he overcompensated. It's kind of that same view from my viewpoint on that quarterback. So I do wonder how much Philip Rivers has lost.
I think in that where you see arm strength more apparent, whether it's someone's arm strength or lack thereof, is more so in like timing routes. You think about like a receiver out wide and runs like an 8-yard out route.
Yeah.
And you're, as a QB, you're supposed to get that ball to your receiver on the break.
Yeah.
Before that corner can come in and break that pass up. And when you start seeing those corners get there and they're getting their arm in there to break it up, and then all of a sudden they're jumping the route and they're picking it off.
Yeah.
Because these balls aren't getting there in time. The quarterback knows the timing of that route. It's the arm strength that's not getting the ball there in time.
Yeah.
That's the issue. So it's not always the deep balls where you see it, but that makes complete sense what you're saying. But you're paying attention to some of those timing routes where the ball needs to be to a spot on time, and the ball just doesn't have as much speed on it, and it's not getting there in the same amount of time. That's, I think, where you see it a lot.
Yeah, and some other things that I noticed about this past week is you finally saw AJ Green getting some catches, 8 receptions on 11 targets for 96 yards. But you got to give it, this guy, I wanted the Colts to draft so bad. Michael Pittman is great. I like him. He's going to be a good receiver for the Colts. But Tee Higgins.
Yeah.
My gosh, that guy from Clemson is dirty. I mean, he's like 6'4", runs like a 4.5 40 or something in that range, and he just was all over the place. 6 catches for 125 yards. Just man, I wish the Colts could have got him, because that would have been such a great pickup. And the other thing
he's already taken over basically his number one target on that offense.
Yeah, exactly.
Like half a season in, less than half.
If you go to the Cardinals game, I know they're playing against the Cowboys, but you have to wonder how DeAndre's playing over at the Cardinals. He had 2 receptions for 73 yards. Great, but Christian Kirk had 2 receptions for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like,
yeah, I'm looking at those receiving stats.
Larry Fitzgerald had 3 for 22.
So I didn't even look at Kyler Murray's passing.
Yeah.
I just went straight to the receiving, and I'm counting them, saying 2, 2, 3, 1, 1. I'm like, all right, how many completions does Kyler Murray have? He had 9 completions, and they scored 38 points.
Yeah, because Kenyon Drake had 164 yards and 2 TDs on a Cowboys defense. Man. That's awful.
How, if you're the Cowboys, how do you give up 38 points on 9 completions from Kyler Murray?
Well, let's, they only technically gave up 14 points, 16 at the most, on 9 receptions. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about what we're hearing in the news about the Cowboys coaching staff not preparing the teams. Now, this is not new news to us, right? Like, there was this kind of news coming out of Green Bay when Mike McCarthy was at Green Bay.
Yeah.
So
there's some anonymous tips from that locker room.
So are we potentially
they're not prepared, and they're not changing the game plan on the fly as they need to. So
are we looking at a one and done for Mike McCarthy in Dallas?
Well,
and Nick Saban coming in?
Yeah, right. It's tough you have Dak Prescott go out. It's tough to pin something on your head coach, when your starting quarterback is out. But if you're going to not win this division and go, 4-12 or 5-11, even with Andy Dalton, there might be some rumblings this offseason. I think he's going to finish the year, but boy, if they don't win this division with how poor it is, McCarthy might be gone.
But I think you're giving McCarthy a slide here, Zach. Come on now. We're talking about a defensive-minded coach. Coach, and his defense is one of the worst in the league, if not the worst. And we're not talking about Jacoby Brissett as that's not a fair comparison, because Jacoby, I think, is one of the best backups in the league. We're not talking about some second-rate, name whoever you want, backup quarterback. We're talking about Andy Dalton, a quarterback that was drafted in the first round and took Cincinnati to the playoffs multiple times. I think his record was like 74 and 68.
I don't think he ever won a playoff game, though, right?
I don't think he did. He's an above 500 record quarterback. So my point is, you're going from a quarterback that, yes, Dak Prescott is definitely a talent above Andy Dalton. I hope you guys can actually hear the thunder in the background. This is incredible at our house right now. We needed the rain, but it's super loud. But you're going from Dak Prescott, good quarterback, probably not worth $40 million, but can carry that team, to a quarterback in Andy Dalton that we know what we have in Andy Dalton. We know that he can succeed. So that loss was not on Andy Dalton, in my opinion. That loss was strictly on a defense from a defensive-minded coach who hasn't done anything for their defense. Because Andy Dalton threw for... The other thing is...
Threw the ball 54 times.
You have Ezekiel Elliott, who carried the ball 12 times for 49 yards. Had 2 fumbles, by the way. Yeah. So nothing's going right for them.
Yeah.
But you have the best running back, arguably the best running back in the league, and he carried the ball 12 times.
Yeah, well, they were down early and down by a lot early. So
true.
I think the game plan just flipped, and you got Andy Dalton subbing in for his first game, and you're asking him to throw 54 times.
I think that's
put up a stat line that I expect from Andy Dalton. He's never been someone that really lights up the scoreboard. It's a lot of passes and a touchdown with 2 picks. I'm
gonna do it, Zach. Look at the screen real quick if you're on stream.
Yeah.
We only ran the ball 20 times. That's just not enough. In this instance, it's not enough. Ezekiel Elliott carrying the ball 12 times is not enough. 2 fumbles or not, it's not enough. He is your best weapon. Run the dang ball.
It's
Period.
tough, though, when you got... Kyler Murray didn't exactly light up the scoreboard, but it's tough when you know Kyler Murray and that Arizona offense on the other side to just run, first down run, second down run, third down run. It's tough to try and establish that running game when I think they were down probably 14-0 by the end of the first quarter.
The big thing on it, though...
21 in the second.
The other thing that I look at... Yeah. The other thing that I look at is time of possession. Arizona only had the ball 26 minutes. Dallas had it 33 minutes. I mean, it's not like Dallas didn't have the ball. They just didn't make anything happen. I think that also comes down to your play calling. I'm pretty sure is Keenan Allen still their offensive coordinator? I believe Keenan Allen is still their offensive coordinator.
On the Cowboys side?
Or not Keenan Allen. Who's their offensive coordinator? It is Kellen Moore. That's who I meant. Kellen Moore.
The old lefty, Boise State lefty.
Boise State. I don't think he's done anything. I think what they're trying... I'm really...
Well...
They talked about him taking over for Jason Garrett.
The Cowboys... As poor as their record is, they were putting up some crazy numbers with Dak Prescott.
They were
the first few games. So maybe it's just an adjustment period. You got a different quarterback. They wanted to. He threw the ball 54 times, but I didn't see much of this game. Maybe they were just throwing a lot of dink and dunks and not really airing it out.
Yeah,
we'll see. Hopefully, according to the players in that locker room, they're not making any adjustments. But hopefully, that offensive Kellen Moore there can make some changes and establish the run. And then I hope the defense doesn't put you in a 21-point hole. And then that way you can let Andy Dalton work a little better.
I can't imagine that they won't make any changes. I just, knowing Mike McCarthy, I just can't imagine that he won't do any changes. So we have a question in the chat that you probably saw from Ted. It wasn't really a question. He's making a statement, one of his hot takes. I think we should have Ted on Halloween, if we do a Halloween version, and have him dressed up as Skip Bayless. I think that would be hilarious. No one will be Shannon Sharp. He's saying Ryan Tannehill is better than Aaron Rodgers. Go. What's your opinion? I mean, if you look at week 6, he threw for 364 yards, 4 TDs, and 1 interception. I would argue that he's really good, but I'd also argue that Derrick Henry is
I think
the real reason they won that game.
I touched on this in our preseason predictions, kind of dating back to that Titans postseason run they had last year. But I think Ryan Tannehill is just in a perfect offensive scenario for him, where he's got a beast of a running, 212 yards Derrick Henry had. Just a
and averaging almost 10 yards a carry, by the way.
Yeah.
Against a fairly good defense.
Crazy running back, takes some massive load off him, and he's able to just play second fiddle, and he's putting up numbers, scoring touchdowns. I think Tannehill is not so much like as skilled as Aaron Rodgers, but I think he's just a perfect product of that offense and what they need from him.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd agree. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that kind of... I think that's pretty much it for me. Yeah. Well, comparison-wise, if you were comparing him, Tannehill, I think he's definitely a system quarterback. So, I think of a... who's a great system? Who was a great system quarterback? Steve Young. Steve Young was a great system quarterback. He wasn't really
It's an old, yeah.
he's an older one. I wouldn't really say that Ryan Tannehill is as good as Steve Young, but I would say that Steve Young was more of a system quarterback than like a Joe Montana, although you could make the argument that Joe Montana was a system quarterback as well because he didn't really do anything outside of San Francisco. So
I could argue like maybe a more explosive Alex Smith from the 49ers days where he's got a more explosive running back and arguably better receivers. I'd say probably objectively better receivers. And they're just airing it out a little more than Alex Smith ever did. I don't know. That's a tough comparison. It's kind of a unique scenario. A guy coming, basically getting benched and then coming to a new team and getting compared here in the chat to Aaron Rodgers. So,
I mean, I think Ted will compare him to just about anybody. Just for the hot take, but you know. Oh man, think the Giants are drafting a quarterback this year? Think the Redskins are drafting a quarterback this year, or you think the Giants have the Giants given up on Haskins and have the Giants given up on, or Washington given up on Haskins and Giants given up on Daniel Jones?
Yeah, well, I mean, Washington's already given up on Haskins, even though he's numbers wise really has been fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just don't like him there. They want Kyle Allen in. And then the Giants, Daniel Jones. That's a tough one. I feel like their offense, especially with Saquon out for the rest of this season, he's trying to do anything with just a terrible receiving corpse. And really, I mean, they brought Devontae Freeman up off the street, basically.
Yeah. Hey, Devontae got me some good points in fantasy this week.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Giants try and put some stuff around Daniel Jones. Give him another season or two, and then they maybe start looking elsewhere.
He's not had a good season so far.
Yeah, it's been bad.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all I got for as far as week 6 goes. We'll take a quick look at, do you have anything else as far as week 6 goes?
No. It's caught a lot of the standouts there, that's for sure.
Let's see. All right. So our Thursday night game is Giants and Eagles. Who you got?
Taking the Eagles. I think they start their run toward that division title starting Thursday.
Hold on. Before we do this, I'm actually going to do something for the next episode. We're going to predict next week and see what happens. So hold on. Let me get a piece of paper real fast.
Oh, all right. Some weekly predictions going. Got some good games. Seahawks, Cardinals.
All righty. So
Giants, Eagles.
Let's see here. And this way it's going to be live. Man, that thunder is booming again.
Speaking of thunder, should we just go lightning round to take our picks, write them down, see where we stand next week?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do right here. So let's see here. So you said Eagles?
Yep.
I'll agree with you on that. Let's see here. Lions and Falcons. 2-3 team and 1-5. They're in Atlanta.
Lions.
Oh, you're going Lions. Okay. I think I'm going to have to go with Atlanta here. I think getting rid of Dan Quinn is going to be great for them, and they're in Atlanta. I think that fan base will be pumped up. Browns and Bengals.
Going Browns. I think they had a bad week last week, so this week they're due for a good one.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Browns as well. Hopefully Baker Mayfield can figure it out, although I did say he's Johnny Manziel 2.0. Packers-Texans.
Packers-Texans. I'm going Packers there.
Who has
tough schedule for Texans?
Who has? I'm gonna go with Packers as well. Who has more yards, Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson?
I think Rodgers bounces back from his poor showing, so I'm going Rodgers.
Okay, I'm saying Watson. Just for a little controversy. Saints and Panthers.
Saints, Panthers. I'll go Saints. I think that'll be a good game, though.
I think I'm going with that too. I don't know. Real quick, do we know if Michael Thomas is back?
He will be. It's a little murky because he had that supposed team suspension, but was also kind of injured still. I think we'll see him back because the Saints can't really afford to lose many more games. They got a tough division. They're 3-2. So
I think he's gonna have a big game personally. Bills and Jets. I know the answer to that one.
Yep, that's an easy one.
Cowboys and Washington. This may actually be more difficult to predict.
I'll go Washington. I think the Cowboys spiral down with their anonymous.
I'm gonna go with the
rumblings.
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys just because I don't think Washington is that good of a team, and they don't really have running backs. Seahawks and Cardinals.
Whew. That's going to be a good one. I'll go Seahawks. It's going to be like a 41-38 Seahawks win.
Who has more rushing yards, Murray or Watson?
Kyler Murray or Deshaun Watson?
Not Watson.
Russell
Wilson. Sorry.
He hasn't really been running the ball. Kyler Murray definitely has more designed runs, so I'm going to go with Kyler Murray.
Okay. I guess my other question to that is who has more overall touchdowns in the game? Combined touchdowns. Russell. Okay.
I think he throws for like four TDs.
I'm going to go with Kyler, and I'm going to say that he's going to throw 3 and rush 1 because I think that's pretty much what he's been averaging. Chiefs and Broncos, I think I can predict that one.
Chiefs all the way.
Let's see here. Oh, the team we didn't talk about. One of the teams we didn't talk about. The Patriots. They're playing the 49ers. Mm-hmm. Who do you got? They're at Foxborough. Yeah. Ooh, Monkey said
I actually like the Niners there.
You like the Niners? Okay.
Yeah.
Monkey actually said that he would take the Broncos against the Chiefs. Man, wow. That's bold. Drew Lock gonna outplay Patrick Mahomes? No, no Von Miller? I don't know, man. That's you said you were taking the 49ers?
Niners.
That's a hard one for me. Cam did not look good last week. Yeah. And I don't know. First time Garoppolo's back. I'll say the Niners. First time Garoppolo's back at Foxborough. I think Garoppolo will be playing. Yeah. So Raiders and Bucks at Las Vegas.
Ooh. Another good one. That's the Sunday night game.
I'm taking the Bucks here.
I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I think they get hyped up in Las Vegas. Big opponent. I think they keep pace with the Chiefs with a win here.
Which defense allows more points? Or sorry. That wouldn't be good because in your argument, it's not good. That's not a good question. That's not a good question.
If I said the Raiders there, I looked really.
Yeah, you'd look really stupid. Trying to catch you in a stupid comment. Man, I just had to skip Bayless' question. Holy crap. I guess better who throws for more yards, Brady or Carr?
I'll go with Derek Carr.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with Carr as well. I think the difference maker is going to be that running game of the Bucks and the defense of the Bucks. Steelers Titans. This is a great one. 5-0 teams.
Game. Yeah.
And they're in Tennessee. Got two.
Oh boy.
I gotta go with the Steelers here. I just think they're playing. I think they're playing really well, as well as Ryan Tannehill is playing. He has not played against a defense the likes of the Steelers. Yeah. They have been good for so long. Tom Coughlin.
I'm gonna go Steelers as well.
Mike Tomlin has coached them really well. So this is one of the wins that the Colts need from them. Chargers and Jaguars.
I'll take the Chargers. I think they're the better team.
I agree with you completely. And then an interesting one: a 5-1 Bears team versus a 4-2 Rams team in Inglewood.
Yeah. I think the Rams probably win this one.
Okay.
Yeah. The Bears, they're actually, it was kind of saying they're sneaky good. Just, they have five wins, 5-1. I think people are discounting them because their quarterback play is so up in the air.
Porous,
I guess
yeah.
it really hasn't been that poor. It's just been very unknown.
Yeah.
But it's working. They've got a good running game, good defense. Khalil Mack's a problem.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna pick the Bears. I think that they're the better team. I think defensively, Jared Goff is not gonna have the answer to that defense. I just think they're a better defense, and I think that's what's gonna win the game for them. So
yeah.
I mean, they don't get me wrong. Rams have a great defense as well with Ramsey and Arnold, but or Darnold, no Arnold. But I just think the Bears overall have the better defense, and I think that's what's going to ultimately be the thing that pushes them over the top. So
yeah, I can see it.
All right, so we got our predictions for the week. We'll come back to those.
Yeah, we'll be
next week. Hold on, I need to say this one was TDs. This one was passing yards, I believe, or rushing yards. Rushing. This was passing. And this one was passing. Alrighty. All right. Well, you got anything else that you want to talk about before we cut off too? Are there any questions in the chat? Real questions in the chat, not crazy ones.
Yeah. Monkey's got one, I know, about the Texans.
Monkey's always got questions. Mike might have a question too. We got 9 people in here. Come on, someone's got a question. I know someone's got a question in here. Texas sucks. Okay, well, fair enough. That he answered. Who's a better team, Monkey? The Dallas Cowboys or the Texans? Zach, you can answer that one too.
Wow. That's it's the Texans, but how do you feel about Vrabel sending a 12th man on the field to use a timeout? I saw something about that. Wasn't that like a smart big brain move?
Yeah, it was.
I didn't actually look into it, but
I think it was a big brain move.
Yeah.
I'd have to say the Texans are probably better than the Cowboys at this point, just because of the fact that they don't have Dak Prescott and they don't have a defense.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing from my standpoint. All right, guys. Well, I think that's where we're going to call it for this evening. We've been live for the stream about an hour, it seems, close to it. This one's probably going to be one of our longer ones, Zach. I'll have to cut out some things because of stream or because of the cutout, but
right.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. We will be back next Thursday, I believe. We'll be back next Thursday with an update on, or not an update, but we'll probably talk a little bit of the World Series. It might be over by then, frankly. So we may be talking about the winner of that, and we'll be definitely talking about Week 7 of the NFL. And Zach, I think we might have some Big Ten games this weekend in football.
Oh, wow.
So I think we might have to touch on maybe a little bit of college football as well. So
no kidding. That'll be all you all year round.
All me. Oh, come on now. You can look at stats. You can do that. If I can do it with baseball, you can do it with college football. I don't know anything about college football other than I know football. But guys, thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Political Parade. appreciate it.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you can like, subscribe to the YouTube, and also follow on Twitch. Share this with your friends. Get the word out. We'd really appreciate it. We're trying to grow. We're trying to create a unique experience for people. We really do appreciate all the support so far. Silhouette, thank you so much for the kind words. You're awesome. And yeah, we're having a lot of fun doing this. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. And if you have any, I know Zach has said it a couple times, I'll reiterate it. If you have any suggestions on how we can make this better, more engaging, don't hesitate to let us know. Comment on the YouTube videos. Let us know in chat. We really do want this to be a great experience for you, and enjoyable for you as well. So Zach, you can say something, and then
Silhouette, appreciate the kind words. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate the support from everyone else. We had a good live stream on the ball. We'll be back at it about a week from now.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.